Hi, welcome back to Live and Breathe Horses at Centre Equestrier La Luce. So today we have our expert farrier here trimming the horses. So I thought it was a good opportunity to tap into some of his wisdom and just ask the question I've been asked a few times recently of what exactly is a natural balance trim. Personally, I'm going to let him explain that, but I think for me the most important thing is that it's not just about the foot, it's about the balance and the alignment of the foot in relation to the limb. And this is where the years of training of a good farrier really can make all the difference to your horse. And that, looking after the feet correctly and having a really properly qualified professional take care of that in the long run will keep your horse healthier and will save you money on vet bills, because if the feet aren't in balance with everything else and aligned properly, it's going to affect other things, joints, tendons, nothing else is going to work properly and smoothly and harmoniously. And I think to do the best we possibly can in this area, as all areas, is the least we can do for our horses, especially when we're going to ride them. So let's all look after the feet the best we can and see what Millsy's got to say about that.
I mean, to me, when I trim a horse's hoof, all I'm looking at is the balance of the hoof against the balance of the limb. We also like to keep a nice healthy HPA, which is the hoof pastern axis, which keeps the front wall in line with the pastern. The only difference that people like to say with a natural barefoot trim opposed to a field trim is that sometimes they will round the front wall up a little bit more, and they like to call it a Mustang roll. So I mean, every single horse is different. Every horse has a different hoof, every horse is in a different circumstance to another. It all just depends on the work, the hoof, the terrain, on whether you do need shoes or whether you can go barefoot. A lot of problem that I see is horses that have too short feet, so they're always sore on their feet, which after a lot of consistent pounding with short feet, it could induce navicular.
Oh, and then you've really got a problem if you get navicular going, huh?
Yes, it's a manageable problem, but it will be there and it will not disappear. It will be something that you will have to manage for the rest of the horse's life. Without the frog being trimmed down correctly, if it has a lot of dead frog on top of it, it will never work correctly. Obviously, if you have a load of hard dead frog on the top of it, it's not going to be pliable. It's not going to expand and contract and allow the blood in and out of the hoof as easy.
And it's also a very sensitive part of the foot, right? If it's too much on the ground, it's going to be a bit painful for the horse. It will be putting a lot of pressure up through the horse's hoof. Inside you have something that looks very similar to the frog. It's called the digital cushion, which is actually the blood pump for the hoof. I'd imagine that if he starts going into heavier work, he would need a set of shoes, but he has got the typical Andalusian hoof, nice and concave, nice and upright, brilliant for lifting the hoof off the floor to keep it away from the stones and the uneven terrain that we deal with over here in Spain. As you can see, when they just grow straight down like a nice tubular cylinder, rather than growing out forwards like you'd have with other horses from other countries. Having the concavity in the side of the hoof, it brings the hoof off the floor. So as you said, with the horrible terrain that we have to deal with a lot of the time here in Spain, it's basically designed for that terrain. Very similar if you go to Arabia with an Arab with their flatter feet for going across the sand. Every horse is different. Every hoof is generally designed for the terrain that the horse would naturally be in. Okay, Millsy, thanks for coming. See you next time.
Today, Susan. You take care and I'll see you in 6 weeks.
You too. Bye.
Wild horses couldn't drag me